we go. All right, I think we're just about ready. Let me get this set up. I think it's long enough now. Of course not. I tell you, I gotta change this over. I can't, this is too wiggly. Okay, why is that going on? Let's get rid of that. All right, let's see what this will do. Of course. Okay. All right, we don't want to hear that. This thing came out. All right. Well, anyway, welcome back. It's pretty dark. I know my camera's out of focus. It's because of this, because of that light. Let's do something about that. All right, it goes back in focus, but now I need a light because I'm a little bit on the dark side. So let's see if that'll work. No, that doesn't work at all. That's actually horrible. Let's see if this works. No, that won't do any better either. Okay, well, I'm just a dark blob. You guys aren't gonna see me very well. Wow. Hey, Hoswina, how are you? I'm just getting things prepared here, there. I think that'll put a light on the subject a little bit better. I think. I know I got a little bit of a delay on my video, so. It's good to see you, Hoswina. I miss your early morning. Well, here it will be early morning. Your paintings and stuff. I know, you know, you got life things going on and everything, so I know all about that. For those who will watch this a little bit later, we're continuing the little dino painting. Yes, there's a dinosaur in here, believe it or not. It's a Triceratops, the three-horned one that looks like a giant cow or a big rhino. But it's in here. There was one of the horns. Over here is his other horn and beak. But we'll tackle him probably more than likely last. So I think you see the detail now on the barn. I'll take a little bit more time with this painting than I did with others. All right. As you can see up above, I only got two colors, which is black and white. We're gonna get some gray cobblestone looking things going on down here. All right. So we'll do that because I'm kind of on a somewhat limited. Oh no. Nope. This is actually a canvas board. Nope, I did not order none of my supplies from Cinemax. I had to go to a legitimate brick and mortar store to get this. So, sorry. So, good to see you, Sonia. Yeah, I want to see you paint again. Bixby sends his love. He's still in his sacred Bixby spot. So, I'm gonna pull out some. I got a very, very small brush here. This is one of the brushes I really don't use too much, but we're gonna get a nice light coating of gray going on. Try to get plenty of it. I want to keep the paint pretty much without any medium because I want it to dry quickly because I may have to glaze the bricks. So we're gonna pretty much zoom in because once again, smaller brush. We'll work on one side each, excuse me for the rough handling of the camera, but it's just the way the camera is. Let's see if I can put a nice focus on that, make it a little sharper there. All right, so you guys should be able to see that fairly well. If I do use any medium, it'll just be water just to loosen up the paint. All right. Okay, very thin, very tiny brush. Now, because I don't have perspective lines on this barn, I'm just gonna have to do it like kind of like cobblestones, and it should go relatively quickly. All right, and I just add little cute little dots like that. I see that some of my paint is still a little tacky, and if so, I'm going to use a towel to place on my hand while I do these. And once again, it'll be little cobblestones. I'm going to use the black of the board. Okay, and I'm going to do them on the side like this, different directions. Make it look like cobblestones. They'll be different sizes. And like I say, we'll probably go through this kind of quickly. All right, we'll put some here. It'll look pretty cool when it's done. But we're just doing a whole series of interlocking little cube things there, just like that. Some are longer, some are shorter. Okay, put some down here, make some a little bit bigger. Just make them look kind of interesting. Different sizes, some go in between, you know. I try to keep them the same width or length as the brush itself. It just makes life a little bit easier. Okay, just like that. So once again, I'm going to use the black of the board that I've painted to be the mortar. Very simple. And we're just going to have our little fun with this. Put one down there, put one here. Kind of make them grow a little bit like that. Bring one down here, pop a couple here like that. You know, you make a little game out of it, really. I can come down here and pop in a couple here like this. Odd little shapes. Come over here, continue it over here. Make one a little narrow like this, right by the door frame here. Okay. You can make them square like I'm doing, or you make them rounded, up to you. Because they're stones, all right, you kind of, the people who laid the stones down, they put them in where they fit in. You just slap the mortar down on them. So, oh yeah, you missed some humdingers with the RV DJ. That's Sonia. She is a DJ, and let's just say the jokes fly freely. I was put in the corner many times on her page. She's being taught how to paint by the individual I taught how to paint, believe it or not. And she's coming along pretty well. She's doing pretty good. So she is now one of the regulars. Okay. But as you can see how things are coming together here. Now when you thin paint out like this, it will dry. Okay, I'm definitely going to end up getting some more paint, or at least another mix of paint. But you see I have the towel below my hand because some of the paint is still tacky even after a few days, and it's just because of the glycerin. That's why. Hey Madonna, I don't know if she hears me yet, but I know she just shared me out, so I don't know if she can hear me. When she pops in, I'll say hi. So like I say, I'll try to get this done as quickly as possible. I'm keeping the paint just regular paint because I want it to dry quickly. So if I choose to glaze some patterns on, it will be dry. Let's get a little more white, a little more black. Now when I mix paint like this and I want to get the same shade as before, I'll make a batch and I'll compare it to what I have already. Okay, now even if the color's a little darker or a little lighter, that's fine, because not all brick and cobble. Thank you, Sonia. Not all brick and mortars are the same color. So Doing a painting like this, me personally, I have to really be in the mood to do something that's detailed. This goes a little bit further than the Bob Ross type of paintings because of the detail. So it's a little bit of fine painting, traditional, along with wet on wet. So it's kind of a mix, really. And you take your brush and you make interesting little patterns here and there, especially around like where the windows would be. It's kind of easy to form the bricks there. Once again, you can alter the sizes of them, put them in between, like so. Just have a little fun with it. I gotta watch my hands, make sure I don't rub into the paint there. Sometimes I'll have the camera on my face, sometimes I won't. It all depends on my mood, if I want my face seen or not. All depends. I'm just blocking in a few of the windows here. Easy to block them in. It's not too difficult to do. Bring it down like that. Make them different sizes. It's almost like putting a puzzle together, really. Now, obviously, because I'm making them the same color, I will be glazing over some of these bricks, because obviously with a building that's symmetrical, like a barn or a house or whatever, you got a bright side and a dark side, obviously. Once again, make them different sizes, make them a little long, a little short. This is the more or less tedious part. You know, some people have the patience for it, some don't. Like I say, I have to be in a mood to do something like this. But every once in a while, I'll do something kind of detailed and crazy. Now I got a art project to do. I got how can I say it? It's more about commercial illustration, black and white. It's supposed to be for a science fiction book. And so I'll probably do that after I complete this. It's for a book publisher I've known for many, many years. And he's got some room for a few more illustrations. And he gives certain artists a choice on what to do. And it's more like science fiction. So mine is going to be the Planet of the Apes. And so I got to pick something, a scene from the movie, and do it. Let me sketch it. Like I say, as long as you've got, here, I'll show you. Okay, and you know, they look like little cobblestones. Obviously there's no light or dark side yet, but there will be when it's all said and done. All right, we'll go right here, and we just continue it along. I can make these a little, let me see here. Now this is up to me whether I want to, for me to decide if I want a light or a dark side. Which side will be the light or dark side? It looks like, all right, I already can see which one's the dark side. The dark side will be here. This area will be the darker side. This will be the lit side. So for these can be, okay, I can get away with it. These will be a little darker. And we'll continue the cobblestones here. Let me be a little wise and go around the windows first. At least block the windows in a little bit. Now, if you like ultra detail and things like that, then this type of painting will be for you. Like I say, it takes a little time. It does, but the end result you'll like. So just, you know, have fun, take your time with it. I'll come down here like this, make that one a long one. Hey, like Tetris, yeah, there you go. Tetris. Boy, you date yourself when you start mentioning things like that for reference. Tetris. One of the games my brother used to beat me terribly, and that's probably why I never got into video games, because I got humiliated so bad. My brother would beat me and then laugh. And he still has those games, believe it or not. Try your best to leave little spots, so the black of the board will be the actual mortar for the cobblestones. You don't necessarily have to use a flat brush. You can use a filbert, you can use a round brush, whatever brush you see fit to use. I can tell by the way the paint's grabbing that I need a little water. And this is thick paint, so you can, you know, use a little bit of water and it won't unbind. It loosens up the paint. This is a fairly decent brush that holds a really good sharp edge, because I rarely use this brush. I'm pretty rough on brushes, so if I got a project to do and I kind of wear a brush down a little bit, I had to just buy another one. So now with this board being black, I just used chalk to when I did the tracing. I just used chalk, white chalk, instead of pencil lead. That's all. All right, so let's take a look. You see this? Okay, basically it. That's all you do. Now for the top part back there, once again, it's a little darker. I'll just add a little more black and we'll just rough that in there. It's the shaded side. And once again, I'll take a little more care with this painting, so I want to be a little more exact, a little more precise, a little more careful. Get a little more paint. With a brush this small, I'll try my very best not to put the paint way up into the furrow. Sometimes you just can't help it and it happens anyway. You just clean the brush off really well and just save your brush. This board has a border on it. That's why you don't see me going right straight to the edge. I know where the tape is. Okay. All right. Since this is going to be the dark part of the barn, I can't really, or I have to wait a little while to add a quick glaze on it to change the color, make it a little bit darker. All right. So we'll pull back a little bit here so you guys can see a little better. And there's the whole thing there. All right. You know, it's touch screen, so I can just touch. But you see how now the black of the board looks like the mortar in between. Okay. And you know, basically how you do it. All right, let's do something with while I still have this gray, I I can, nah, I won't do it that way. Let's make let's get a little bit of, let me use a little bit of ultramarine blue, I guess. We'll darken, let me think about it here. Maybe not that, maybe I'll have it lit. Because every time, if you have windows lit, it looks like, you know, there's life and activity going on in whatever structure you got happening. So I'll just use a little dot of yellow here. I'll probably use a little dot of yellow and a little dot of red, not much. Probably about like that for right now. I'll still use the small brush. Okay. Because once again, I'm using a black board, so I'm going about this backwards because I should highlight the, or I should glaze this before I do it. I'm using the white because you need something for this yellow and red to kind of show strong against. So I'm going about it a little on the backward side. I gotta be careful because of the it's not entirely, the grass part isn't, it's tacky, it's not entirely dry, but it's not wet enough where I'm gonna stain anything. And once again, kind of be a little exact, use the nice wedge of the brush and just block all this in. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be exact because, you know, they're cobblestones, obviously. All right, we'll probably continue this up there. The upper windows, you guys can see me do them. I gotta be careful. This I know is wet, so I definitely gotta leave that alone up there. So once again, try to be as exact as you can. I know that the leaves of the trees are dry, but I just want to be super precise, super exact as best I can to just block all of this in. Turn the brush around. You know, you got paint on the other side. Just like that. Just block it right in. Once again, the white is now the base color for your brighter colors. Whether the windows are blue, black, or looks like they got a little bit of light showing through, it's kind of difficult to really put that over black because when it dries, obviously that black is going to show through. So that's why I'm blocking in the windows the way I'm blocking them in. And be careful, be very exact because the windows are in perspective. So if you get it a little bit off, it's going to look off. All right. Oh, you guys didn't see me do the one at the top. That's the easy remedy for that. Let's bring this down a little bit. All right, right about there should be good. You guys should be able to see everything. So that was my bad. I overlap the strokes. It cuts down on the brush marks. Hey Aurora, Shane, how are you? Good to see you guys here this morning. Once again, I'm pretty much concentrating on the windows. I'll try to keep it as exact as possible. All right, okay. Here we go. Now the paint doesn't necessarily have to be dry totally to add your yellows and reds and whatnot. I'll add the yellow. The yellow is very translucent. All right, so usually I would put white in there to beef it up, but we got white on here already. And I will just kind of pop some yellow in there. I don't necessarily have to have the white showing. It's really the yellow I want in there. And then we'll play around with little dots of red. Once again, the yellow is very translucent, so if I go outside the area of the windows, it's okay. Whatever color I choose to make the barn will swallow up that yellow, so it's no big deal. Like I say, you definitely got to be in the mood and have the time and the patience to do art like this. Because I don't do it too many times. Because I'm usually teaching, and I try to make things a little bit approachable for other artists. Now with the red, you use the tiniest bit of red. You want a little bit of a glow or whatnot. So tiny bit of red, you can put it on the corners or whatever. I got a little too much water on the brush. And you kind of pop it in there. Just like that, I'll kind of pop it in the corners here and swing it around. Now the paint's a little wet still, so it's blendable. I'll take my little tiny brush, dry it off pretty well, and I'll kind of mix those colors in there a little bit, kind of play around in there, kind of blend them in. Doesn't have to be super exact. Almost looks like a little fire going on in there. And if you want to tone it down, you add a little white or whatever to it. Up to you how you want to, how you want to do it. Okie dokie. All right, let's put this little fella away. Let's go to a slightly larger brush. I guess I'll use the 1/2 inch here, and we'll get this one side a little darker. All right. I'll use a little bit of glycerin here. I'll put the glycerin right here where you guys can see it. A little touch of black in there. And what it does, what the glycerin is going to do with this black is it's going to thin it out. Okay. I don't want it too dark the way you see it right here. All right, so I'm going to get a little more glycerin. Now I'm going to wipe this stuff away. I kind of need more glycerin than paint, but play around with it. Okay. That should be okay. Now it's gonna make even black. It would just make it translucent and make it like yellow. You can see through it. Okay. And basically, I just want a shadow over here. All right, because it is the dark part. We'll go over here in the corner, and we'll just kind of. And all I'm doing is adding a nice light glaze just to darken the bricks. That's all. Just deepen the bricks a little bit. Let's add a little more black. And this is great. Glaze is really great for this. Omnidirectional, it really doesn't matter because you're just adding, once again, adding shadow to this. I can add shadow, believe it or not, to that yellow part. It won't make it disappear, but it won't make it as bright either. So I can just glaze over that and kill some of that. I can do the same thing here, just glaze over it real quick. And it just puts it in shadow. When it dries, you can still see the little glow and whatnot. It's okay. And the good thing about this type of glaze is that if it gets too light or you want to make it even darker, you can always go back over it and go back over it and go back over it. All right. Just like that. Now you see there's a difference between that light half and this stuff over here. Okay. As I'm looking at it still, we'll glaze this top part also. It's all in shadow back here. One nice little swipe through will take care of all of that. Just like that. All right. And then you just let it dry. Okay. All right. As I'm looking, it'll be a traditional, more likely traditional red barn. So we're gonna have our fun with the barn. Since I'm going this far with it, why not? I'll take a little bit of, I don't have enough red. Traditional red barn, we'll do it that way. We'll get a little more red here. And once again, you definitely have to be really exact in doing stuff like this. Sometimes it might take more than one coat, all depends. All right. I'm thinking about something. That's why I'm stopping. I'll add a little bit of black into the red, just to deepen the red. Kind of a dual purpose, because once again I am on a black background, so if you apply a bright color like red to black, it might kind of disappear on you a little bit. All right. So we'll mess with this. We'll do it on the dark half. I was going to work on this side. We'll work on over here. All right. All right, all in hand placement, just got to be a little careful. I'm gonna go right here. I'm gonna just kind of tap, make it, once again, I want it pretty exact. Put it right in here. So you're instantly making a shadow. I don't want the door red. I'll keep the door kind of on a brownish side, but I will push this paint right to that very edge. Now here, up on top, just be careful when it takes a nice slight line. Like I said, this is going to take a little time to do. You know, if you're a little nervous about doing it with a brush like the half inch, then get yourself another one, another brush that you're comfortable with in doing this. Okay. Now, you can straighten up your window now. It's okay. You can tighten up your window, the frame of the window, tighten it right up. There's a little bit of glycerin mixed in this red, and it's fine. That's okay. Now, the ratio of glycerin to paint mix is also important. The more glycerin you add, the more translucent, more transparent the paint becomes. So it's a gentle mix between the two. And the more you mess with vegetable glycerin, the more you'll get accustomed to it. All right. Now, this is the first time I've painted this barn. I could use the same template, same tracing, and make different scenes. It'd be the same barn, but you can hardly tell depending on what scene you put it in. Okay. And I've done that numerous times using different scenery with the same barn. Okay. All right, and I'll just let it dry. All right, well, obviously the dark half of the barn. Okay. All right. I really don't have to mess with any of that much anymore. Let's clean this brush off. Hey Jim, how you doing? So I guess on the other side of the barn, hold on for a second. All right, on this side of the barn, we'll just have it be its natural red color. So here's the natural red color, no glycerin or anything. We'll put it right here. Now I may end up doing another coat because once again we got this black here, but we'll see if we need another coat or not. If you're a little nervous once again about using a brush this wide on a barn like this size, then use a smaller brush. You know, it's all in what you're comfortable in doing. I have to be careful up here. I got to be mindful where I'm at. Let's start here from this corner, and we'll look at it as we're doing it. If I need another coat, then I'll add another coat. That's no problem. And it might look like I need another coat on this, and that's that's to be expected. It's okay. I have no problem painting it over. Once again, I'll take a little more care with this barn. I won't just throw the paint on willy-nilly here. I can feel the tackiness of the paint, so I got to be careful. And it's just my hand placement. Glycerin will prolong the drying time of your paint, so be mindful of that if once again you choose to use. I seem to be a fan of getting notifications today. I'll check it later. Once again, I'm just using the red right out of the tube. And no glycerin, so this red will dry. But now I'm showing you, see when you use red against a black background, see how when it dries, see how it's taking up the properties of the black. Makes it darker. Okay, and that's all it's doing. When it dries, it's just taking up that undercoating there. There's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. That's fine. Let it happen, Captain. You're just gonna paint over it, which is why I'm still moving on with the painting, because I know I'll be painting this over. Now I gotta watch my hand up there with the clouds and such. Now, as I'm talking to you and I'm doing this, you see the streaks. The streak marks are okay. When you put that second coat, I forgot about that line. That's okay. I forgot about that line there, but I'll add it in later. When you add the second coat, you're not gonna see those streaks. It covers it for some weird reason. It does. And once again, I'm bringing it right up to now where you see me stopping at. Okay, that's the shadow side of the barn. So no biggie. I'll get some more paint, put it in the same spot where I had the other paint. Because if I have to mix some more, it just saves palette space. I'll put it right here. This is where I mixed it from before. Like I say, no glycerin. It's just paint right straight from the tube there. and we'll wait for this to dry and do its thing, and we'll, you know, go over it again. Cover everything. Cover it all. Even if you still see it and it's still black, don't worry about it. I'm going over the horn because the horn will be removed. No big deal. Just keep going right over it. It's starting to dry. That's all dry it back there. But you see how dark it is when it dries? That's what I'm talking about. This is all wet. This is why you see what you're looking at. Okay. It's still all wet. The paint can be moved around and maneuvered. All right. So. All right. Okay, so we'll let that dry. Once you put a layer on, let it dry. Move on to the other side of the barn. Whatever color you want to do the roof, entirely up to you. All right. If you want the roof white, make a white roof. If you want it silver, make it silver, or gray, or whatever. Whatever color you want it to be. All right. So let's go into a little bit of white. A little bit of black. It's like that. We'll make the roof a little deeper. Just add some more black in there. Okay. I'm pretty certain that this is not going to be dark enough or enough paint, but it's all right. We'll do the first part up. Well, the first part should be a little bit lighter. So let's add a little more white to this mix. It's like this. Once again, I'm using just paint, no water, no glycerin or anything, because I want it to dry. Once again, I want to be pretty exact with this. So we're gonna come on up here. I gotta mind myself and where I'm at in relation to this painting, because I don't really want to mess it up. In case I do mess it up, I can correct it, but let's try to do it right the first time. Get it as close to that edge you possibly can, please. As you see me doing this, I'm actually moving my whole arm and not my wrist. Get yourself a paintbrush that maintains an extremely sharp edge so you can get into those details like that. Once again, I don't do too many of them where I'm doing it this meticulous. Once again, it depends on time and patience and if I feel like doing something like this, especially when it comes to that dinosaur. Because doing any kind of reptile or anything with bumpy and scaly skin, you gotta paint the bumps in, and once again, it can be pretty meticulous. Okay. All right. Actually, believe it or not, even though that's a darker, tone of gray, it gets even darker because once again, this is the shaded side of the barn. All right. We'll get a little more white, pop it in there, but a little heavier on the black because we're painting the opposite side. We're painting the lower, darker side, I should say, of yonder barn. Now that's definitely deeper than the other one side. You can see the color. That's the color of the top part of the barn. Here's the more shadowed, hidden side. I'll make a little water, put it in there, loosen up the paint a little bit. See that? Now, when you loosen acrylic paint, it does have a tendency to streak, depending on how much water you put in there. Okay. Hey, Ian, how you been, bro? Good to see you, man. Ian is an incredible watercolor artist. He does have a channel. You can go to channel now, so you just click on his name and you'll see it exactly what I'm talking about. Very astute gentleman. Wonderful, wonderful tutorials. You ought to see him live. What he does with watercolor is kind of what I do with acrylics. At first, it doesn't seem to make any type of sense. And then by the time he finishes the painting, you're gonna wonder, how did he even get there? Because that's not what I seen when he first did it. And he can paint pretty much anything. Multi-talented. I know he was doing guitar designs also. And I know he's across the pond. I forgot where, but he does live across the pond. I think he's at least 6 or 7 hours ahead of us, I believe. Or is it 5? I forgot. Because I think you're further away than Gracie is, if I can recall. But yep, he is overseas. Definitely overseas. Once again, I'm blocking it all in. And once again, the black will take care of this when it dries. All right, it's going to appear darker anyway. All right. And you can always glaze it if the color shift is too great. But give it a chance to dry before you make that decision. Acrylic paint dries flat, which appears it will appear to dry darker. Okay, but it's just drying through evaporation. Oil paint dries through oxidation. Oil paint is pretty vibrant, and when it dries, it's going to maintain its vibrancy. It's going to still stay the same color, where acrylic tends to dry darker. Watercolor tends to dry lighter because it has to compete with the white of the paper, and it's a thin paint. All right, obviously diluted because of the water. So, all right, something like that. All right, now this is dry. As we did this is dry. This has been dry, but we're not going to really touch it because it's pretty cool the way it stands right now. We'll add details and such to the windows a little bit later. All right, but we're going to make this a little more solid now. Okay, all right. As I'm still looking at things here, what's this? What is this? Gray? Let's kind of coat this a little bit more. One side I want to make a little more on the darker side. Obviously this is more paint. It has no glycerin in it, but that's all right. You think I'm hiding all those bricks? No, wait till it dries. Wait until it dries. You'll still see them. Trust me. You will still see the bricks. I'm just making it a little deeper. But you'll still see it, and I'm still competing with that glycerin because it's not totally dry. But when it does dry, you'll still see the details in there of the bricks. All right, so once again, don't fret. The reason why I made this a little deeper because it's directly on the shadow side. No, this is on the shadow side, but it's a little bit lighter in matching this direction. You got all that to think about. Hey, Gracie, welcome. Hey, there's Jessica. Hey, Jessica. All right. Let's flatten that side out a little bit better. I might be. Well, we'll see. Might be piecing that together a little bit more. A little more paint. This is straight out the tube. It's cad red. Yes, I tend to use a lot of cad colors. All right. Oh, we'll start from up here again. Now, what's going to happen when I apply this is that it's going to start to brighten up and flatten out because of the coating of paint you already put on there. I gotta be careful. I'll just use the corner of the brush here. But you see what's starting to happen now. You see that? And you put as many coats as you feel. Up to you. But as you can see, it will start to brighten up and flatten out. Okay. I have a 40-inch screen. So if you see me looking at the camera, but you see my eyes go up that way, it's because the screen is right up above. And ironically, or strangely as it sounds, when I see me painting, it looks like somebody else is doing it. So I got a different kind of outlook on what's going on and how it looks and everything. You know how painters, instructors will tell you step back away from your painting, get kind of a different perspective. Well, it's the same thing if you see yourself on a monitor. Okay, it's kind of weird, but it looks like somebody else is doing it, even though you know it's you. So it gives you a different outlook. So if something doesn't appear right, look right, feel right, you can correct it. So your TV or your monitor is your own objective eye. All right. Get as close to that window as you can. You know, if you add window frames or whatever to it, you know, that comes a little bit later. You know, you work large and then you work the details as you move along. All right. Bring it as close as you can to the other edge. I am ambidextrous, so I can use both hands if need be. Yes.
Would they say when you?
Oh, they gave it back. I had to wait 48 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So. And you know, don't rush it. Take your time. Have a good time. Play around. Be happy. All right. Once again, you let this dry. Okay. All right. I can play around with some window frames or whatever with this. Window frames can be whatever color you choose. Just for the sake of time, I'll probably end up making them black because it's the sake of time and it's quick. Okay. I'll use this little teeny tiny thin thing, really tiny. I'll show it to you here. This little fellow, as you can see, compared to my nail, little guy. All right, little shrimpy thing. No, I don't use craft paint. If I use craft, here, I'll show you, Gracie. Not necessarily craft paint, but I use the thick stuff here. Grumbacher. This is my paint of choice because it reminds me of oil paint. It got the thickness of oil paint. Okay. And they got different versions of Grumbacher. They got the student version, academy version, the pro grade version, whatever. The different versions they got of this paint. Or I will use, this is kind of a step above craft paint. It's liquid, but it's very thick. Okay. All right, and basically what this is like ultramarine blue or something like that. Okay. What else do I use? Yeah, I'll show you. Which one is this? Oh, there it is, Artist Loft. Once again, thick paint. I use the Artist Loft stuff here. And you see they got different levels of it. All right. And hold on, I'm not done. I'm not done. Liquitex, I use Liquitex, but they're all thick, look like this stuff. So if I pour it on here, even the liquid stuff, if I pour it on here and take my palette and turn it upside down, it's not dripping off. So it's thick paint. Now I do use the apple barrel stuff, if I got them here, but here's some craft paint. All right, and yes, I do use this, okay, if need be. But with this stuff, I'll probably put a little bit of modeling paste on it in it to thicken it up, you know, if it's the color I'm looking for. Okay, with this little skinny brush, I'll put the frames in, the window frame in, with a color I don't seem to have. I think the color I got here is probably just about all, no, because there's glycerin and I don't want to use glycerin, so I ran out of this is Mars Black, so I'll put it right back in the same spot. Watch it, forgive my hand being in the way. I'm really not a big fan of using like black in my paintings, but if the need arises, I will humble myself and use it. But I particularly really don't. This brush is even smaller than the previous brush I used, and mainly just for the window framing, because once again it's kind of quick and it'll look good. All right. Just come here, nice thin line, be as exact as you can because you're working with perspective still, okay? Still working with perspective, and if it doesn't look right, that it most likely is, all right. Just like that. And then I'll make this one really thin. Makes you a little nervous doing them, but now if you don't, I'll make this one thicker on the top, like that. If you don't have feel confident to do something like this, right? Use a script liner. All right. I just want to flatten out the brush, keep it kind of thin here. Okay, let's go on the other side. Good thing about using the black as a black frame, you can put it on the light or the dark side. It's a pretty nice cheat. And it makes it look so much neater when it's finished. I don't really need to add that here, but I am going to add some darkness in here. Let's get a more, just for a sense of depth, that's all. So I'll pop in some dark, only on one side. Only on one side, get that little 3D look to it. Right up in there like that. Okay, I gotta watch my head. Only on one side. In there. Add a little depth into the window. See, now it looks like the windows are sunk in. You see what I'm talking about? Even a little small guy, but it looks like it's sunk in there. Okay. You could add something like this. Oh, well, I mean, not too many barns have this, but we'll add it in anyway. Approximate where the middle of the window would be, and you put a window frame in there like that. still wet up here. If I pop my palm up there, it's just gonna send me into crisis. So I really don't want to start correcting things at this stage. Something like that. Okay. All right. I can do it here. Just like that, a little thin thing. Okay. Looks more of like a natural window. All right. This glycerin's still very wet. And as you can start to see, as it starts to dry, you still see those details in there. You still see it. They're still in there. Okay. You definitely obviously see it there on that side. All right. Oh, she done switched her channel on us, guys. Yeah, Garden State paint is still Sonya. New Jersey, it's called the Garden State. All right. All right. So as I'm looking at Mr. Barn here, the majority of it is dry, and as you can see, we have a light and a darker half. All right. All right. Okie dokie. We'll still start. Let's do something here. We'll start playing around with it. Let's use the thicker brush for what I'm going to do next. We'll use, well, still a small brush, but the bigger brush. Let's add a little bit more white. We still scrape up some white here. I'm going back into this grayish area here, get a little bit of this paint, lighten it up just a little bit. All right, just like this. More paint than water, no glycerin. This little ledge right here, this little lip, we'll just lighten it a little bit right in here. And I'm actually using the beveled edge here. Well, the edge. This paint's a little thick, so I'm applying it very carefully. Once again, I'm paying attention to where the I'm gonna get a little bit of water, just a little dot of water here, loosen up the paint, just where the line is. Greasy, those little what are they, hamsters? What is it you got? Guinea pigs. Those tailless rats. Have they nipped your finger yet? I'm just curious. You know, when they get a little rowdy, you can always introduce them to the cat. That'll make them behave. I'm just curious. Once again, doing a painting of this sort, it depends on your patience level and how detailed you want to go with it. You know. All depends. Then this is all paint, so I'm using water. It's starting to dry. You thin out paint, and you're using a thin layer of paint or on a smaller brush, it will dry out on you. All right. So with acrylics, if you know what they're going to do, then you know the time limit you have for them. All right. Okay. And I gotta add a little more water because it is drying out quite quickly, and I'm painting at an angle. I'm not going direct with it. It's just the way I'm seated and the way the angle is on the board. So I have to, you know, adjust a little bit. Yeah, but it's okay, it's all good. Something like that. All right, and you just let it dry. All right, okie dokie then. Let's get a little more white with the paint that I have. A little white is about all I have too. Nope, gotta get some more white. I don't know how Gracie, You being put in the corner will almost make the paper. You're way too nice. I can't see how, unless, you know, it depends on how long you hang with Sonya. You know, I don't know if we want you around all those questionable influences. Then again, you know, the tide could be turned. She could say the same thing about me, because I think I caused all sorts of grief and mischief yesterday. It was fun though. All right, the framing. There's that little outside frame of the barn. I want it a little bit brighter. We're on the lit side anyway. Right there. So you guys can check this thing out. Once again, be as exact as you possibly can. Try it, do your best. Sometimes we tend to get a little bit lazy or go too fast. Don't do that. Please try not to do it. I'll put it that way. Try not to. If it seems a little gaudy or a little overly bright, you remember acrylic dries darker. It dries flat. So give it a chance first. Give it a chance. And this is a nice, interesting way to kind of frame your roof. Obviously, it's not white, it's just a bright gray. Of course, you know, a barn's got that unusual kind of roof shape to it anyway. Okay. And because this is a thin outside frame area of the barn here, all right, if you go a little bit too far or to the outside or whatever, remember you got that inside dark area there. So you can always tighten up your edge. Hashtag don't panic. Yep. I didn't say tailless hamsters. I said tailless rats. Still tailless. Okay, we can go with this darker gray. All right. Still a tailless rat. Because we got that little frame, but it's on the shadow side, okay? And I'm very mindful of that part that's still not entirely dry. If I have to, I will use the corner of this tiny thin brush to do what I need to do on that underside here. Okay. Now I see where I went over, but that's okay. The paint's still wet. I just take a damp brush and we just make that go away a little bit like that. Rub it out of there. Strain it right up. Rub it right out of there a little bit. Okay. Okay and okay. I can get away with just leaving that black, believe it or not. I can. Because what I can do is take this brush, a little bit of black, and put a nice fade in there. Okay. I'll show you. A little bit of water, because it's dry. So I'll take a little bit of water with this skinny brush here. Take a little dot of black like that. So there's, okay, you see a little tip of, I'll put it here. You see a little bit of dark right there. All right, we're gonna turn the brush around that way, right by the dark area. because you still got some clear area on the brush, and you just kind of make a little fade right in there. Just drag it down. All right, get you another little dot of black on the corner, because most of that black is going to be into the black, and you just kind of, the water will help fade that out. All right, you probably can see it now. A little fade here. Go on in there, fade it out. Okay, you can wipe all the rest of the stuff away, but it softens that edge in there. Okay, and that's all it's doing. So you don't have a really sharp edge. It kind of softens that edge a bit there. Get a nice little shadow up there, but it softens it, as you can see. All right. All right, let's take a little bit of this black paint. We'll put it in here. Actually, let me show you something real fast. I'll use a larger brush, it doesn't matter. Remember, all this is dry. It's dry. Take some water on a dry brush. I'll get some of that water out of there. I'm just take it, I'm gonna just go underneath here. Just like that. Look what I just did. Just like that. Make sure it's wet. All right, and what's going to happen is that the paint's going to expand when you put it across. So we're making a nice little shadow, right about in here. Right under here. Now, while it's still wet, okay, especially if you got the bigger brush, you can go just underneath and just kind of let it, it's going to trail down all by its lonesome. It'll spread and expand all by itself. Okay. And it's doing it right now as we speak. And you can just kind of bring that down. It's only going to go so far before it dries up. So no big deal. That paint, while it's wet, it's going to travel down to where the water ends. But it's going to dry before time anyway. All right, once again, it softens that edge so it looks like a gradual shadow that just disappears. All these little tricks and things you can do. Okay, all right, let me show you something else before we move on and all of that good stuff. Let's take a little bit of yellow. We'll put it over here. You guys can still see it. All right, we'll take a little touch of white. You got to kind of beef up that yellow a little bit. All right, so that opaque color kind of peeks through. All right, we got a little bit of yellow in there. Tiny, and I mean a tiny bit of red, a little dot of red, pop it in there. Just like so. Okay, just like that. Almost like a dry brush, really. Okay. All right, let's go in here. Up in here a little bit, just kind of rub it in there. So now you got a nice little light area of the barn. All right, kind of pop it in there a little. Kind of rub it in there. There's a little bit of sunlight hitting that barn over there. It's like you're coloring with a crayon. Just keep rubbing it in there like that. A little bit of white, a little bit of yellow. A micro dot of red. Okay. Take a lot of it off your brush. You got me? And very lightly just kind of pop it in there. You can make it look kind of rough. It's all right. Come all in here. Okay, I could take my little finger and we'll just kind of smooth that out. Rub it in there. Get in there. You don't have to do the whole thing. You do not. Something like that. Bring it down here somewhere. All right. Yeah, pretty much. It's still a little bit wet. I'm just taking some water and I can kind of smooth out some of that area there. You can move the paint around a little bit. Up to you if you want to go that far. Because of the white that's in that paint, it gives a kind of a chalky residue, which is white, which you see those little stripes and bubbles that's going on there. Okay. And so you can take it and smooth it out a little bit. Up to you. See, I can move that paint around still. See this? See that? You can still manipulate and move and have your little fun with it. Okay. Get some of that out of there, make that disappear. Just like so. All right. Don't make it all super picture perfect and pretty. You know, rough it up a little bit, but you see the lights just hitting that area there. Okay, let's take a little bit of white. We'll go over here, take some little light gray, or this gray here, and just pop it in there like that. A little more white, just lighten that up a little bit, just like that. All right, now remember, white leaves a residue. You got me? Okay. I'll use some of this glycerin in there. A little more. I know the glycerin's got black in it, but that's all right. And you'll see something. You'll see in a second. Okay. As long as I get it thin enough. You come over here by these rocks, and you can kind of, you know. Now remember, it leaves a little residue, and you can kind of brighten up that side a little bit. If it needs to be a little brighter, just add a little tinge of white. Not too much, and very lightly. You still want to see some of your little brickwork, and you will. But just lighten it up a little bit over there. Okay. Just a little bit there. Just a little bit. See that? And you leave it be. Okay. I can be cute because I feel like being cute. Maybe we want some direct sunlight to hit a certain side of the barn. I want it, I don't know why, it's a little more dramatic. We'll just kind of brighten this edge up right in here. It's just me, just direct light, just hitting the side of the barn. Bam, just like that right here. I don't have to go all over the place with it, just this one side here. Just like that. All right. Oh, we'll touch the brush on the rim of the roof here. You see it's not exactly picture perfect. It's like little specks of sunlight there. All right, and it's just the edge of the brush. You can do it with you can do it with a what do you call that thing? Why can't it come to my mind now? You can do it with a palette knife also, if you would like. Up to you. But just a little bit of, you know, a little sunlight hitting there, you know. All right, I think we can pretty much leave all of that alone. I don't have to do the whole length of the barn, not necessary. All right. Oh, you're talking about on the dark side? Yeah, we can cover that. He said black cloud next to the tree. I think you're talking about this guy right here. Yeah, we can darken that. That's no biggie. But take it and just swipe and darken that guy right in like that. So it's all right. And this stuff will dry up like that. But I know what he was talking about. And once again, it will dry up. Okay, because you can just kind of use your finger and fade all of that. But once again, I wanted that a little darker, and it probably can be a little darker than that. And basically, I got glycerin on the paint, on the brush. There's still glycerin in here. And I will just paint in the window. It will still remain. It's still got that yellow tinge to it, but we're gonna kind of kill it like that. That's what he's talking about. These can do to be a little darker too, but that's what he's referring to. You can still see it. You'll still see that little bit of a glow cheating in there a little bit. Okay, but that's what Jim was talking about. You just gotta deaden it a little bit. So now you see the difference. But that's what he's referring to. Good eye, Jim. But yeah, it will look like it's on fire. Yeah, I said that earlier because of that red and orange mix there. Yellow and orange, red, yellow. It's gonna look like it's burning in there. Now, I can get away with the door actually being that dark, being pitch black. We can get away with that. I just don't want to. So, we'll take a little bit of, let's take a little bit of black. We'll just mix it right in here somewhere. A little bit of red. Actually, a lot of bit of red. There. So we got a little bit of red, a little bit of black. All right. So, it's almost there. Well, here, let's pop that in there. And watch what happens. We'll pop the yellow in there if I got enough yellow. We'll show you what would happen when you pop red, black, and yellow together. I want you to look at this. Look at this. See what color is turning? See that? See that weird brown that's happening? That's the color of your door. Right there. Okay. Let's take this color first. Let's take this and we'll add this right here. Just like that. We'll pop a door right in there. We'll do the same thing here. Get out of there. Starting to dry up on me. Let's get a little bit more. All right, something like that. Now it's kind of weird because of the way the brick patterns are all up in here. So our door looks a little strange, but that's good. It's all right. But they do look odd, but I'm gonna keep it. Let it dry and we'll add little patterns to that door. Here, we'll add just a touch of black in it. Actually, this brush is too small. I'll use a 1/2 inch. But make sure you clean this brush. Is that burnt sienna color? No, I just mixed the browns. It's black, cad red, and yellow. That's what made this brown, Gracie. And it's actually more of a sienna than yeah, you're right, Gracie, I'm sorry. Yeah, it is a burnt sienna, yes. Sienna is a brown with red. The umber colors, raw umber, burnt umber, they're a brown with green in it, really dark. Get a little bit of water there. This is a deeper, darker color of well, sienna, really. We'll use it for the back part here. All right, and here we go. Now, obviously, it's not too far from that black we have in there. But that's good, because once again, it just adds to the shadow. So we're good with that. Okay. It's not totally black, obviously, because we just covered cover the black, but it's gonna maintain that look because of what we have in the background, which is black. All right. Yep, you're exactly right, Gracie. It is a sienna. Once again, it's a brown with red in it. Okay. All right, this is dry already. We'll get a little bit of, I think we can eke some more yellow out there. We'll put it right here. So we got a little bit of yellow. We'll add a little touch of white to that yellow. We'll go into some of our sienna, add that in there too. Just like that. Get a nice sharp wedge of color on the brush. And we'll come here and we'll add. Can you guys see that? Yeah. We'll just kind of add little door framey little things there. A lot of detail. And just kind of pop them in there. All willy-nilly like. Okay. It is just simple little wood patterns there. Like I say, you don't have to be really detailed and go all in. It's really up to you. If you want to do this, do it this way. Up to you how you want to do this. It's your world, your barn. You do what you feel you need to do to get the look you're looking for. Really up to you. Okay. And just because I feel like being cute again, man, did I run out of yellow? I may have. I may have ran out of yellow. It's all right. It's all right. We'll come here in this dark area and we'll get a little hint of some lines. Even if you use the corner of the brush, it's all right. I'll get a little bit of white. I can get away with using water with this color because remember, white paint leaves a residue even if you got it mixed in. Just pop it in there. And it dries very, 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 very fast. Okay, now I can take that color and we can I'll take the glycerin in black a little bit, not much, and we can tone that down. All right, so we'll just take it and we'll tone it down a little bit, just like so. All right, you just let it dry. You gotta let it dry and it'll just subdue that color a little. Let it dry. All right, so, well, hold on. Before I do anything else, let's do something. I want to add a little more texture to the barn. So we'll take the palette knife. As you see, we got stuff here. Let's clear up some of this. No Windex or anything. I'll just clear up some of this. I don't want to clear up all that paint right there. We're going to use that paint, but all the rest of this we'll just kind of get rid of it a little bit. Just neaten the palette a little. Okay, I don't need it to be super clean. I just need a nice dry spot somewhere here. Okay, just like so. Just get it out of there. All right. Let's take some of this and we'll spread some of that out. Let's take a little bit of, because it is on the, we'll take a little bit of yellow. Well, no, I don't want yellow. I don't want yellow. We'll take a little tiny bit of white, because what we're going to add isn't going to be, put it right there. It's not going to take up, a whole lot. It's just adding a little more texture to yonder barn. So we'll brighten it up a little bit and we'll marble it. We'll keep it like that. No biggie. Thirsty much? Anyway, okay, take a little thin swipe of paint like that, really tiny, all right? You almost cleared that whole bowl. What a pig dog. Let's touch this. All right. What we're gonna do, you see this little edge here? All right. Kind of match the edge a little bit. Just one touch, boom, like that. All right, a little touch, boom. Do another one, kind of close, boom. And another one. And put one up there. And another one. And another one. And another one, like that. Get a little swipe. We're gonna continue this joy up there, boom. If you don't see it, turn your knife in a little bit and you'll start to see the little patterns and such. Get a bigger swipe. Be very careful. It just takes a touch. I don't have to you don't have to make them even. Skip around a little bit. Put them fairly close. Once again, it's up to you how far up or down you want to go with it. I'll use it. No, I shouldn't have did that. It's backwards. Let's go toward the other side. So I'm putting it more toward the top so I can get little details up there. See that? All up in here, way up there. I'm wiping the stuff off the bottom of the blade and just concentrating all of that grainy goodness up there a little. Just like that. See all that texture? Okay. All right. Little things like that helps you out. Pop a little edge there. How about right here? Yeah, right here. Sunlight kind of touches that little edge there. We'll kind of put a few things up in there like that. Okay. Leave it be. Leave it alone. Could I do the same thing here on the other side? You most certainly can if you would like. I would probably, I'll add the black and the red here. All right. You can, if you want to, if you wish, you can pop some of that love in there, much like that, pretty small. Up to you how far you want to go with it, you know. Up to you if you want to add all of that in there on that side, like so. It's dark. It really, when you start doing things like this, it's more texture than anything. Once again, it's kind of shiny because it's wet. Let it dry. You'll be okay. Hashtag don't panic. All right, let's pull back a little bit. Let's see what we got. Okay. Let's pop that in there. All right, this is what we have so far. Okay. All right, we're at the 90-minute mark. Yeah. So this is what you're looking at. All right. As I'm looking at it here, and you can see how it gets a little bit bleached out here. You still see its detail, but you see how the bleaching out is here. It's still the bright side of the barn, obviously. All right, but you see how it's bleached out because of the sunlight. You see the sun hitting it. Now, I wanted to show you this, especially for you, Jessica. When you highlight red, don't use white, because if you use white, it's going to turn pink. All right, then you're going to have a carnation colored barn. You don't want that. You want a light red. But if you're highlighting red, even on a flower, highlighting red is different. You would use, to highlight red, you would use a lot of orange and a lot of yellow to highlight anything red. Okay, now let's say if you painted an orange, well, you would shade it with yellow, and you would darken it with red. Okay, you can mix those colors, but primarily those would be the colors you mix. But once again, if you use red and white, it turns pink. Be a little bit careful. Or if you do paint a barn or whatever that's red, you do what I just did. You add black in your red for your first coat, then you paint lighter on top of that. All right, that's how you maintain a lot of red in your barn. Okay, which is pretty much what I've done here. All right, still a red barn. Okay. Thank you. Oh, Bluto's good. He's just fat and hungry. He's always hungry. Okay, we did 90 minutes. The barn is completed. All right. Now that I did complete the barn, I will show you something. Now you see the shadow looks a little more natural there. I can actually darken that shadow, deepen it. Okay. I could probably do a little bit more with this tree to deepen the color, but I won't need to because part of the creature's tail is here. All right, you guys really don't see the dinosaur here, but the dinosaur is here. I can actually unmask him, and you'll see where he is in relation to everything. Let's see, how many people are here? About 10 or so. I think, maybe. I don't know how many people are still hanging around here. It doesn't really give me an accurate number, but I want you guys to help me out. Should I put a tree of any sort in this area? It's either yes or no. I know the barn is there. Obviously, I'm not going to cover all the barn with a tree, but do you think another tree would be there, or do you think I should just leave it be? Now, we do have a tree up here. It's behind the creature. It's up there. All right. Should there be another one a little bit lower around in this area, or should I just leave it blank there? Because we do have enough interest we got enough shadow there. All right, we got enough interest with the two different shades here. Okay, so we got enough interest in the barn. The barn is pretty much a done deal. It's pretty much set. I don't have to deal with the barn. All right, Shane says no. DJ says no. Okay, I know we got a little bit more than 2. But as you guys are typing in and chiming in, I guess I'll remove the beastie. Okay, you'll actually see where this thing is. I'll probably do another session with the beastie because I don't want to keep you guys here really that long. I used box tape for the beastie. The box tape can hold back color fairly well, but box tape also, it doesn't really tend to come off in one big grouping. It does split. It does break easily. All right. So there's up and down sides to using box tape. But I tell you what, no glycerin's going through it, that's for sure. Bet you see it now, right? Be really careful with an X-Acto knife. It has no problem taking layers of your skin away with you not knowing. And the only time you will realize it is when you bled all over your painting, especially an extremely sharp one. So be mindful of that, please. As you see, it does break apart. But once again, no paint goes through this stuff at all. All right, there's Beastie. Why is a triceratops in a cow field? Don't ask me and don't judge me. Leave me alone. All right. I know you didn't know, Jim. most of you didn't. Okay. Once again, that also goes to the fact that I say when you paint an object, when you mask a creature, and you're doing scenery behind it, like I did the barn, you paint over the thing, act like it doesn't exist. Okay, that way you don't lose the flow of your painting. Granite rock showing through the grass. That's a good idea. Thank you, Jim. That's a pretty good idea. Let's take some black before I shut this down. We'll come back to the creature when we do this again. That's a good idea, Jim. Good idea. Good idea. I'm just blocking in the rock. Obviously the rock won't be black, but we're just blocking this guy in. This will be the last step, and then I'll shut the... We'll come back to this. I'll give you guys a little break because I don't want to do another 2 or 3 hour session here. I knew this was going to take a little while, but that's fine. Once again, it's a little more detailed, a little more involved in a painting like this. And then again, this also establishes depth of field and everything for these guys. I'm adding a little more water to this black to thin the black out, because we're going to just glaze shadow on yonder rocks. Okay. Still very light. I don't have to have a sharp edge on that, so I just see that. You see how you kill that sharp edge? You see that? Just fade it out. Instant shadow. Okay, it doesn't have to be sharp at all. Just like that. Obviously, this is below the page. It's a larger rock. We're good. Okay. All right. I misjudged his shadow. His shadow is actually up under here. Easier to do his shadow when he's actually visible. Okay. He's got his big dyno head. His dyno head is actually here. Okay. Now you just rooted the dyno. Okay. The big bad dyno is right there. Alright. We'll soften the shadow on the tree here. Okay. So big bag dyno is there. Alright. We'll just leave all of that be for right now. And we will I forgot a spot on the creature. The part of his shield, his head shield, head frill is back there. I didn't pick it up. Hold on for a second. This tape, it fights hard to stay around. There you go. Let me look and make sure I got everything. Nope. There's a little bit right here on this horn, actually, right here. There. All right. No, I didn't cut myself. Like I say, there's certain parts, if there's glycerin, it's still a little wet. All right, now it is totally, make sure, yeah, it's totally devoid of tape. So dyno, it will be ready shortly. The dinosaur will take the most time, to be quite frank with you. The rocks will be done like that. We'll do a 3-stage thing with the rocks when we come back. All right, but I just wanted to show you, let me show you something else, the proper size of this thing. You guys are looking at it kind of crunched up because of this guy and that guy. So let's get rid of those two people and we'll see the actual size of this. Let's make that guy disappear. We'll go to screen 4 real quick. Bam, that's what it looks like. All right, so that's the proper size of this. Okay. Yep, Jim's got that composition thing going strong there. Okay, but yep, there's Mr. Triceratops, and we'll paint that guy in, and we'll do the rocks, and it will be a done deal as far as the painting is concerned. All right, and then we'll take the tape off and all that fun stuff. But this is what she looks like. Thank you guys for joining me. Appreciate it. Couple break took a few days, but you know, that's all good. I think when I also come back, I'm going to glaze the background trees here because this tree needs to stick out a little bit more. Okay. I really don't, I guess I can get away with a few highlights, but it matches too close to the trees in the back, so we're gonna glaze these background trees a little bit. Okay, just to set them back there. Okay, which will bring this barn more toward the front. Okay, but it's still in the background. When you do an animal or whatnot, if you put them in the foreground, like this guy, more or less. Okay, if you put a part of an animal, don't matter what animal, put a piece of them in front of what the background object, all right, it instantly brings the animal closer in the barn or whatever in the background. But I mean, just even if it's a horn tip and a nose, something has to be in front of the barn to throw it in the background back there. Okay, all about perception and painting depth. Okay, I mean, you're trying to paint and get away with 3D dimensions on a 1D surface. Okay, so alrighty, that's enough. Class is over. Thank you so much Thank you, Shane. We're not done, but you guys know the deal. I have to make a thumbnail, and then I'll post this. When I post something like this that's not really done, I just post it right on my site. I don't share it around because obviously it's not complete yet. But I'll take a picture of this, and you know, I go through that stage. I don't know if Bruce will be on or whatnot. It's 12 o'clock, so we'll see. All right, thank you very much, people. I appreciate you, really do. Let's get this moving here. Why are we doing that? Stop that. Behave yourself. I think it needs to be charged. There we go. All right, guys. Thank you, Madonna. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys.